What's up, guys? Tara here for Rev3 Games. It's the last day of PAX, and I am here in a super private meeting room with Chad Moore. He is the lead narrative designer of WildStar, which is an upcoming MMORPG. That's a hard one. Do you ever have trouble saying that?
I do, actually, yes, every day.
Yeah, so this is actually my second time seeing WildStar. You guys had your big reveal at last year's PAX, and it seems like a lot has changed, not just within the game itself, but also within the landscape of MMORPGs now. You know, you've got Guild Wars 2 out now. That's changing so many ideas that people have about these kinds of games. I want to know what you guys are trying to strive for in order to really stick out and be unique.
Well, I think there's a lot of areas that we're trying to do that in. Two of the big ones. One is combat. If you've seen anything about our combat lately, we have a pretty unique and dynamic system that you.
I did just see it.
You seemed pretty impressed when you saw it. You know? But that's one of the big differentiators that we're focusing on. Combat is something obviously that you're doing all the time in MMOs, and so we wanted our combat system to be something unique and memorable, and we think that we've sort of hit on something that people seem to enjoy.
Yeah, and that kind of hinges around this idea of telegraphs, right? Can you explain what those are?
Yeah, so while you play our game and you're engaging hostile mobs, you will see telegraphs on the ground. These are sort of threat indicators that are telling you where attacks are going to happen and where you need to get away from. Those indicators can take different shapes, different durations. They have random placement sometimes. Different mobs have different sets of these that they engage you with. And so because of that, our combat is pretty dynamic. There's a lot of movement associated with it. We design our abilities and our classes around this system, and we think that it's something different out there that people haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and a lot of the combat also kind of hinges around using the environment to your advantage, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we talk a lot about what we call dynamic play spaces. So not only do we have a sort of a new and dynamic combat system, but we try to design play spaces that have things that you can take advantage of. So one of the things in our demo, we have a minefield. And so you can draw NPCs into those minefields, and then as long as you're not getting blown up by them, you can draw enemies in and blow them up using that. That's just one example. Those kind of the sort of dynamic play spaces are all over the game, and so I think people are going to enjoy that.
So obviously there's a lot of accommodating for different play styles in here, and speaking to that, you also have introduced this idea of paths, right?
Right. So that was sort of the other way that I think we're really trying to innovate. Our path system is designed around different play styles, and so along with choosing your race and your class at the beginning of the game, you also get to choose your path. And each path, there are 4 of them: scientist, soldier, settler, and explorer. Each one of them has different play styles that their content is designed around. So if you're a soldier, obviously you're the kind of player that likes to fight. And so we're going to throw you into a lot of situations that have to do with combat. If you're an explorer, we're going to send you to the highest mountains and the deepest caves, and you're going to be rewarded for doing that. All of the mechanics and the things that you're doing in each one of those paths is unique. And so we also think that's something else that's different about our game that you're not going to get in any other MMO.
It definitely seems like there's a lot more variation in environments, especially vertically. You know, we were at the top of a mountain one second, and then the next we were underwater in a cave. What are some of the different kinds of environments that people can expect to see here that are kind of out of the norm?
We have archaeological digs with massive 100-foot Elden robots, and we have, a canyon where there's tornadoes that go from one end to the other that you can use to get to different places there. So lots of different variation. You know, we really think that rewarding the player with different unique visual experience is important. And so every one of our subzones is going to be something that you haven't seen before.
You said epic boss fights. Tell us about those.
Well, you'll see a few of them in our demo, but it's really important for us when you run across bosses that A, they look super cool, but B, that they have a bunch of different behaviors and attacks, right? So that as you've gone through, if let's say you're at level 6 and you do a boss at level 7, everything that you've learned from 1 to 6 is going to be necessary in order to overcome that boss, and each one will have its own sort of unique style and unique way of fighting that you'll have to figure out how to get past.
So it's kind of a learning experience, you know, you get better as you go along. Tell us about the story, because you're the lore master here, and we've barely even talked about it. What's in store for us?
So the story of WildStar is really focused around the planet that you've come to, right? The planet Nexus. And Nexus was the home world of this hyper-advanced race known as the Elden, who disappeared from the galaxy about 1,000 years ago, and along with that, the location of planet Nexus. So when the game begins, Nexus has just been rediscovered, and everyone from across the galaxy is rushing here because they want their piece of the pie, right? They want all the cool things. They want to know what the Elden were doing here. They want their advanced technology, their advanced magical knowledge, and so the entire game is sort of about learning what the Elden were doing, fighting for control of this place, and then figuring out what the big danger is and overcoming that at the end of the game.
Will you be continuing to add content to that after the game releases?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be updates to that content throughout our expansion content, and so people should be thinking about and looking forward to lots of different stuff after they reach cap.
Awesome. Well, I think the only question that people have left is probably, when's this coming out?
We can give you the standard answer, which is, of course, when it's ready. We are having players already starting to get in and look at it, we want it to be really great and solid. We want to have lots of content for the players once they reach cap. So, we haven't talked specifically about a date, but we're definitely working towards that.
Well, I think the game looks great. I'm excited to see more. Maybe we'll run into each other at PAX next year. You never know. Thank you so much for talking with me, Chad. You guys should stay subscribed here to Rev3 Games and also to Detoid, because we've got tons of videos going up all weekend from PAX. Awesome ones, like the one that I just did. Did you watch that just now? It was pretty good, right?
It was, yeah.
Lore.